Welcome guys. It's game week 13 team planning time. How are we all doing? Make sure to get your questions, your queries, your team dilemmas in the chat, and we'll talk about it. In case you don't know how this works, if you put your team ID in the chat with any questions you have, I'll put your team up on FPL team and we'll talk through some of your transfer plans. I think the big question coming into this game week is going to be to free hit or not to free hit. And I made my decision pretty early on that one. I'm deciding to free hit. I think there's just such a huge upside in going that route. But what did we think about the game week 12 state of play? Because it was interesting, wasn't it? How there's a lot of people that went for Haaland. One of those was me as captain, and he should have returned. I think Haaland captainers were unlucky. And then there was all the differential options, wasn't there? Like Fernandes and Saka, who in the end didn't end up doing anything at all either. So yeah, it was a strange game week. One that I managed to lose about, I think it was 300k in rank. Came into Monday at about 1.3 million. And then I had Ndai and Burmo and Cunha all to play. And I thought to myself, surely there's no way I'm going to end up with like a red arrow this week. I was thinking, I think I was 12 points away from the safety score. And then all of a sudden, you get that crazy news about Cunha. And Burmo never really looked like scoring. And then Ndai, he just got the clean sheet point, and that was it. So yeah, let me know how you got on this week with your points. Really look forward to hearing from you. What I'm going to do to begin with, I think, as people hopefully start coming in, and if you're in the chat, make sure to say hi as well. I'm going to put a little free hit team together with what I believe to be the best picks this week, and it's chopped and changed in my opinion over the week. But I'm quite settled on a team now, and I think I know the structure that I want to go for. So I'm gonna build this team slowly, and I'd love to get your thoughts on what you think of it. So the first thought I have on the free hit this week is, what are the fixtures that we want to play? And if we start out with the defence, which teams do we really think are going to keep clean sheets this week? And so two teams in particular really stand out to me for clean sheets this week. So there's Man City against Leeds and Aston Villa against Wolves. I know a lot of people are going for a Brentford defender, which I originally was going towards, but I don't think I like that as much now. I think the best way forward is to go for Man City and Villa. So here's my thinking with the free hit to begin with in defence. So I wanted at least one defensive Man City player in there. And my first thought is, they played last night and they made a bunch of changes, which is great from an FPL point of view, especially if you're looking to play the free hit. But I think, who is guaranteed across their back line to start? And in my opinion, O'Reilly is probably the best pick, but I don't think he's 100% nailed. So I think the player who's 100% nailed is the goalkeeper. So starting off my free hit, I'm going for Donnarumma in goal. And then I look at my current back three and I think, is there any of them three that I really want to carry over onto the free hit? And Munoz is the only player that I want to hold this week. And basically the other two defensive spots, I'm gonna double up on Aston Villa's defence with Cash and Pau Torres. So that then brings us onto the midfield. And I think this whole midfield can go this week. I think there are better options to go for across this whole midfield. So here's my line of thinking. I think for a single game week, you've got to go for Salah. You've got a punt on him, I think. So there's Salah. Then I'm going to go for Morgan Rogers, who's probably one of the more obvious picks this week. And then for Iliman and Dye, I'm going to put in Jeremy Doku because he missed out last night, and I think he's got a high upside. I think it's between him and Phil Foden who you go for. But I think I prefer Doku, and he's considerably cheaper, and I think he's more guaranteed to start, in my opinion. Head receiver at head office, super differential defence could pay off big. Yeah, I think so as well, absolutely. Like I said, I think I'm favouring those two teams, City and Villa, as the two obvious teams to get the clean sheet this week. And then Munoz, I just don't think... Originally, I was thinking Van Dijk. But I just don't think there's a better option than Munoz at the moment. And the thing with United is they could turn up. If they don't turn up, he's got a good chance of a clean sheet. And who knows with the way he gets forward every game. So, yeah, I think the free hit this week could pay off big time. So anyway, on with the midfield. So we've got Salah, Rogers, Doku. I think the next player is going to be Kevin Schade. Whether you go for Schade or Dango, I think a Brentford midfielder, it's a good 1 week punt. I really do think that this week. Burnley just in every game they never look like keeping a clean sheet. So I think Schade is a good call. And then completing the midfield is a player I've had in my free hit since the first one I've made, first draft. And that's Gibbs White. He scored 3 games in a row. I think he's probably on penalties, or that isn't guaranteed. I just like this home fixture against Brighton. I've said before, Brighton, they're on a great run of form, but defensively, they've still conceded. I think it's 16 goals so far this season. And Forest, I think they've scored 8 across the last 3 fixtures. So I think Forest are likely to score probably a couple of goals this game. So I like Gibbs White for this week. And then for the forward line, I'm thinking we drop Mateta down to Igor Thiago. And so we have Captain Haaland up front, along with Thiago. And then the bench that I've gone for in my draft so far is I've gone for Petrovic, Krupi Jr. stays, Mukiele, and then as my first sub, I've put Van de Ven in. And I expect the starting 11 are all going to play here. But I think it's good to have a couple of bench options, particularly in defence, who are almost guaranteed to start as well. Along with a playing keeper, because the thing with the free hit is you just never know, do you? If your keeper suddenly turns up injured on the day, or has illness or whatever, you want to play and keeper on the bench. I could go for Dubravka, but I've got the funds to get a 4.5 million keeper. So yeah, that's the free hit team I've gone for this week. What do you think of it? I honestly think it's a strong team. I wouldn't make any changes here. People are talking about Foden. I guess he's all right if you can, get the funds to go up. Salah, I think he's the only player from Liverpool that I'm interested in going for. No one else is guaranteed to start, are they? That's the problem. And whilst he's been, very disappointing this season, as have the whole of Liverpool side, I think it's just worth taking a punt on him, isn't it? It just is, just for the 1 week. West Ham away. They have improved lately, but you just never know, do you, with West Ham? That's a problem. It's 1 week they turn up. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the free hit this week? Are you using it or are you saving it? Because I've seen some people that are looking to actually save it and maybe go for triple captain Haaland instead. And if it was me, if I had both still available, which I've only got the free hit, but if I had both still available, I think I would definitely still free hit this week, and I would save the triple captain for probably West Ham at home for Haaland.